Okay, so got everybody present that was there? Yes. Okay, so does anybody have any comments? Can we get through this pretty quickly?
I would just like to make a few comments.
Okay.
The first comment, I think, was not only about the RV parking, but RV and other parking.
You're talking that it was not just the RV parking location that was the biggest thing, but just to restudy the vehicular circulation and parking for all.
Yes, that I recall making a comment that I'd like to see it being more broken up or something to that effect, rather than one large area. If you want to just leave it restudy, that's fine. But I was not just the RV parking.
Okay.
Could I suggest on that? I had comments on this one too. Maybe we can work together on this, but I was going to say that first one should say, instead of concerned with, say, agree that layout and location of RV parking is too prominent and to restudy, something like that. Or parking, all the parking, maybe you just include all the parking on the site. RV and other parking should be restudied. It's too prominent.
RV and other large parking areas.
Okay.
There were some smaller parking areas as well.
And do we want to include that it's because of the visibility from Highway 246?
How about this? Nicole, are you ready?
I am ready.
Because I can only do this once, I think. Agree with the applicant that the location of the RV parking is very problematic given its prominence in the view shed. Further, all parking seems to be, oh, give me a good word here, guys. Clustered, homogeneous, clumped together, something.
Homogeneous.
Restudied.
Yeah. Seems to be all in one location as opposed to being thoughtfully dispersed throughout the site.
Good.
Okay.
Restudy, please. Like I said, I could only do it once. I hope you got it, Nicole.
Parking appears to all be located in one location instead of being thoughtfully dispersed throughout the site.
Okay, we can run with that. Did you get the first part of the comment though?
I did.
Okay, good.
And maybe instead of thoughtfully, maybe just redesigned to be distributed appropriately.
Let's just leave it because.
Okay.
And then restudy, right?
Okay.
After that. And then I'm sorry I joined late. Was there any, I was in a emergency meeting. Is there anything else you guys needed from me before we go on?
Not yet.
Okay, thanks.
I think
other things. I had some other comments on this, and other people want to speak up first.
On this item?
Yes.
I do
Please
too.
talk.
Okay, yes, I think, we need to just get this one. This was a little bit tricky. There were a lot of issues on this, so I just hope that we can be patient and get this right. This was in for its first review, and so I think it's important that obviously we give them good feedback early. I was going to suggest that reception hall should be more emphasized in its relationship. That particular note is fine. I would just put that in the second position, raise it up higher. And then the one that says rest of proposed development fits well in the site an existing development within their, with their low profile, I would delete that entire sentence and just say, agree that horse stalls are too long and linear. And
Hold on a second. Who are we agreeing with?
we're agreeing with the applicant that the horse stalls are too
Then
long.
then you need to, I think you need to say that that's what we're doing. If you're referring, and not just say agree, because it's like, who are you agreeing with?
Okay, well then say that. Then
Agree
board
with
agrees-
the applicant's assessment that the horse stalls are too long and linear.
correct. And I think that is what they said.
Yep, it was.
That's a good way to say it.
Mhm.
Agree with the applicant's assessment.
Okay,
Got it.
and then, okay, we good with that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, then that first part that I was just referring to, rest of, I don't think we need that whole long sentence. I would just say that we agree that the low profile seems appropriate. The low profile of the overall design seems appropriate. And then,
I would just make it a little clearer and say, low profile of structures is appropriate for the site.
yeah.
There you
Yes.
go. That's a
Okay.
good way to put it. Nice and
Good.
succinct.
So that one is the third one, the second one being the reception hall. And then on, let's see, I have all these arrows all over the place. Then on the staking, on the site visit with staking.
That's usually last.
Okay, well, then we can put it last, but I think we talked a lot about, different aspects of the design. So we certainly don't want them to stake things if they've changed it all, but I was just going to suggest, once the design is resolved, the board will need a site visit with staking of main buildings, et cetera.
Kath, they're gonna stake whatever they want to stake.
Right,
Well, yes, but we always tell them, that's usually taken up, the minutia of that is usually taken up right before the design, right before the site visit. So it's not something that we need to delve in right this instant.
well, we did talk about it, so. I
We
don't know if
talked about it, and I think that for me, this pretty much captures it. The site visit with staking of the main buildings, RV parking and main parking area, and story poles for arena and reception halls at corners was what we talked about.
Okay, then leave that and just say will be required at the end or something, and then move this to the back, the last one, like you just suggested.
Got it.
Okay.
Then, let's see, down here, under provide more information on pedestrian circulation, I would suggest, instead of provide more information on, I would say study pedestrian circulation throughout the site, to understand how all project elements are connected.
I think they understand that. It was us that needs to understand it. And there wasn't graphic enough information on the plans. This was very specifically my comment, and I just wanted to get this in here, Cass, is that that's why I think it says provide more information on pedestrian circulation throughout the site. We need to understand how the project elements are connected.
Okay.
That was my point, was
Yeah,
that
I
they're all
agree.
just kind of floating. So,
Well, if
Can I
you wanna leave it
interject?
that- if you
Yeah.
wanna leave it-
Puck said something that I thought was very important and that could work into here, and it was the
Okay.
type of events will inform the siting. And I think that we need to know what the events will be to know about the circulation.
okay, but we it's outside of our purview as to what events are allowed and what they're going to be. So,
No, I
Um,
understand that, but at least you have an idea of what's going on to inform us and themselves about the circulation.
okay, how about this? Study
Yeah.
outdoor spaces and how they tie into the rest of the development, perhaps with an eye towards the type of events that are intended to be held here.
Fine.
That's good.
Okay, yeah, I had something like that, but I'll leave it at that. Anyway,
Because we're not we're not implying that we are getting into the event business.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just want to know how it all ties into the overall development of the site.
Right.
So I think that's kind of what you said. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay, I think those are all the comments that I had on that one.
Me too.
Thank you. Are you looking for other comments?
Yeah, go ahead, please do,
Okay.
make your comments.
Okay, number 3, I would just suggest on the number 1, just take charming project off and just say architectural style is well suited to the site. And leave off charming project.
Okay,
I would
Um,
agree with that.
Okay, under 5.
Oh, wait a minute. I had something under
Oh,
3.
sorry, go ahead, Robin.
Lowell had made a comment that the engineering near the oak tree may require consultation with an arborist.
you can put that right before the site visit, that it was noted that, or you can put it in, there's a thing in here that says depict existing tree masses. Right after
Mhm.
that, on the last comment, you could say, it was noted that an arborist's consultation may be necessary.
Yep.
Okay, 1 second. We're on Hotchkiss, right?
We're on number 2.
3.
We're on
Oh,
number
we,
Three.
oh,
3
we
now.
got down to number 3. Sorry,
Yes.
sorry, I lost it.
It is
Okay.
Hotchkiss.
Lowell's comment was Hotchkiss.
Yes, it
Yep.
was.
So we have engineering. I would, instead of all of what we're just saying, I would just be adding a bullet that says engineering near the oak tree may require consultation with an arborist.
I just say development instead of engineering.
Okay.
Okay. Moving forward, you want?
Yep.
Okay.
Are we done with 3?
Yep.
Okay, 4.
Number 4, similar to that previous, I would just say, project is well conceived and executed.
Perfect.
Okay.
Wait, where are we at?
That's,
4.
Number 4, first one,
Rancho de Zo.
Oh, okay. Project. Oh, I see.
project is well conceived and executed.
Got it.
And then on number 5, I would suggest on the second one, provide more information on dark sky compliant lighting. Period. Look to minimize. Period. And then on the one that says farm stand, I would like to suggest farm stand is a nice entry detail.
Okay.
Okay.
On consider pulling Hoop House by farm stand further back. I think it's from Santa Rosa Road.
Yes, I was going to say that.
Okay.
And then finally on number 6.
Oh, wait, I have one on 5.
Oh, okay.
I had that we said they could come back for preliminary final, and here it says further conceptual.
That's correct. We did say that. With a site visit.
So it's returning for preliminary.
We are ready to see it at a preliminary level. It's going to depend on, of course, the P&D side, which has to
Yeah.
kind of follow along with us.
Okay. Got it.
But we're ready to see it at that level.
All right.
Okay, number 6.
I suggest on the second one, considered weatherwood siding instead of white for a more rustic feeling. I don't know.
Okay.
And then,
Well, you know, I had one that coincides with that, which is what you said. You were the one who actually made that comment,
yeah,
which is in keeping with the San Ynez Community Plan's Western motif.
yes, I love that.
There you go.
Perfect. Thank you, Robin. Perfect. And then under restudy the use of Yankee Point, I assume that's a plant. you
It
guys.
is. It's a ceanothus.
So maybe with the quotes around it and then say.
I'll get to that in a second. Back to your
Okay.
white appears too contemporary.
We'll take that off.
Or if you want to leave it, you could say in this context, white is too contemporary.
I think that's good.
Okay, if you want to put it in, that's fine, but I think Robin's statement kind of gets it, but I don't have an objection either way.
I don't care either way, but this is too broad of a stroke of a statement. So either it goes out or we amend it, one of the two. Because that's not what we meant.
I was going to take it out and just leave what Robin said.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Okay. That's all I had.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just-
So the comment about Yankee Point, Nicole, restudy, or it said, let's see. You could just say restudy the selection of, and it's Ceanothus, and this would be with a capital C, Ceanothus. And then Yankee Point, both of those are capitalized and they're in single quotes, both words. So it would be
got
single
it.
quote, Yankee, capital Y, capital P point, single quote.
Okay.
In South Parking Planner, given the planter's narrow width. Because you don't know which one's narrow.
Got it.
And provide more lighting details, including the direction of the light from poles, i.e. demonstrate there is no light spill onto adjacent properties. That was my comment, so I know that's what it meant. And we strongly encourage them to return with the proposed signage as part of this application, because they are under no requirement to do so.
Okay.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as amended. Could I have a second?
I'll second.
That was Robin. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that looks good. So let's do, I'll go back to this takes it a second. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay, so did the minutes, CBAR informational briefings. Does anybody have anything they need to get off their chest at the moment?
I don't think so.
Okay, member recusals. I will go first and say that I have to recuse myself from item number 3. McGill, that's the last item on today's agenda, standard agenda. Does anyone else have anything?
I have to recuse myself from item number 2.
Okay, perfect.
So are we still good for a quorum?
Yes,
Okay,
because Alan's here too. So we'll have 4 for
So
both of
that's-
those items.
that's the roll call for today.
Well, I think Leah already got the roll call, but yes.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
So on our agenda, so Lowell is not here today, is that correct?
I haven't seen him.
Okay, and it also lists Brett Marchie.
Do we still have him up there?
He's not here today.
He got off the board.
Oh, was that? Who knew?
I thought I talked about it last meeting.
Oh, I don't recall that. Okay.
Okay, well, under CBAR informational briefings, Mr. Marchie resigned his position from the board.
Okay, so then he shouldn't be listed in the list.
And I don't believe he is.
He is on the list today. For our agenda, he's listed.
I'm looking at the agenda right now on the screen and I don't see him.
I don't either.
Oh. Well, maybe I'm looking
If
at.
you were looking at the minutes, he was still on last month's minutes.
Okay.
Because he hadn't resigned yet.
Okay, thank you.
Well, he had, but he hadn't. It was kind of a weird situation. So,
Okay, well,
okay.
thank you for that. We will miss him.
Yes, we will.
I will miss him. I'm sure we all will.
Staff update.
Yes, so one thing, Bethany, that you had asked for an update on is there was a Montecito Ranch Estates project on appeal to the Planning Commission that involved a change in the color of a structure as was approved by BAR. That item that was heard on October 6th, but it was continued to November 4th. The applicant asked for more time.
Of course it was.
Yeah. So, but Bethany, you may have more detail on it than I, but my understanding is that there was a particular specific off-white color that was dictated for the structures. And however, when the developer went in to install it, they actually painted the house white instead. And they attempted to get, approval of that color, and that was not supportive, and that's now on appeal, I believe.
Yeah. They were
yeah.
also using another case where a color had been approved after construction, which was interesting. They listed it in their appeal. But the pertinent thing for that was the other project was not rural and therefore wasn't constrained with, it didn't have the same constraint as color as what this one did, their project did, as well as the other project had actually had a lower, what do they call it? Help me out here, Cass. What's the reflectivity? What's that called? The RV value?
The reflected light value.
Yeah. And so it had a lower value actually than the color that had been approved. So they deemed it, SBAR had deemed that essentially consistent or an improvement. And so they had given it a pass. And this other project felt that they had been unduly held to a higher standard, I think, was what I read between the lines. So I was interested to see how it turned out, and I asked Nicole to check on it for me.
Yeah. So I'll report back once that does go to hearing.
Okay.
It was continued. The applicant asked for more time to respond. And then other items that are coming up, just that are generally in the central to north portion of the county, is there's Halama Beach County Park improvements going on October 13th.
Yeah,
to
I
the
saw
Planning
that.
Commission. Yeah. Let's see. There's a government code consistency determination. That's just a consent level item going for Numancia Street sidewalk on October 27th. Let's see.
That was interesting too. What's up with the Numancia Street? How is that?
I'd have to look into the government code. That usually is when the county is a government code consistency is so that the county can obtain, or I can look it up and report back in a minute, but it may be that the county is obtaining some new land and that
And which is it? All of, I should go back and look at it. I'll go
I
back
can
and
look it up right now and get
I'm
back
just
to you in a
interested on
second.
which side of Numancia. I know it's on the south side of Numancia Street. And I'm just curious if it's essentially west of Edison or east of Edison.
Okay, I will try and see if I can.
And you can do that while we're and you can just pipe up later if you like, and we can
Okay,
go
that
ahead and get
sounds
to the
good.
consent items.
Okay, yeah, I'll see if I can glean that from the what I can find in the
Hey.
case file.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think there's, I could go on, but those are the ones that are coming up in the near future.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
All right. Ms. Leah, report on the circumstances of the COVID-19 state of emergency.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of CBAR. Give me just a second. I'm going to go ahead and play. So this is the audio from the Planning Commission hearing from the 29th of September. And this was also played for SBAR. I just want to make sure everybody has the same information going into this. So give me just a second and I'll play the audio for you, okay?
Okay.
I'll just kind of walk you through what the commission needs to do in regards to this.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Ms. Richardson.
Morning again, Commission. So I just want to give a little bit of background why this is on the agenda and what it means going forward. So the Brown Act has always allowed teleconferencing, but certain requirements needed to be met, such as posting the location of the meetings and allowing the public to attend. And during COVID, executive orders suspended compliance with certain requirements. So that's how the Commission has been able to meet remotely from homes and offices without needing to comply with those requirements. But those orders are set to expire at the end of this week. In the meantime, the state legislature passed AB 631 and the governor signed it. And what that did was amend portions of the Brown Act to provide an opportunity for legislative bodies, such as the Planning Commission, to continue to meet remotely if certain requirements are met. And so for our purposes today, those requirements are that 1, we remain under a state or local state of emergency, which we are, and 2, that the public health officer has recommended social distancing. And that's the letter that was distributed yesterday to the commission and is currently posted online. So today, all you need to do is receive and file that information. I'd recommend a motion on that. And then this is also an opportunity to provide direction for future meetings. So if the commission would like to return to in-person, then we don't need to do anything more. And Mr. Villalobos will update agendas. But if you would like to remain remote, then what we would do going forward is every 30 days, we'll essentially have to revisit this to reconsider whether we remain under a state of emergency and whether the public health department still recommends social distancing.
Okay, so I think what we need to do at this time, if the board so pleases, is to vote on a motion to give staff direction on which way you guys would like to go. Just to give you guys a quick overview of what the other boards have decided. Planning Commission would like to at some point come back in person, but they wanted to see what the numbers look like after the holidays. And there is 1 or 2 members that would like to stay remote just because of health concerns. SBAR decided pretty much the same thing. They were going to take it on a month-by-month basis to see what the case numbers were and the availability of space and the technology that they needed to provide an adequate service to staff and applicants as well. So just to give you guys an idea of what directions you can provide to staff, but really it's up to you.
Okay. The board that's here, does anybody need any further information? Do you understand what Leah is talking about? I mean, is it clear what she's asking for as far as direction?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, I understand.
Okay. Then let's go ahead and I'll just ask everybody, what is your preference? And what's your, if you have one, threshold for when you would want to reconvene in person? Puck, you want to go first?
Sure. I I would like to continue on Zoom, meeting remotely until several things, primarily at this point, well, of course, health concerns, but I think those are being addressed. The idea of space availability and technology available. I absolutely do not want to go to Santa Maria for any C-bar meetings. I think our meetings should always be held within the boundaries of our area.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Robin
I concur with Puck.
and Cass.
I also agree.
And I think that leaves Alan and me. Alan, you want to go?
Yeah, I agree with you guys, but I also would like to add one more thing. I think this housekeeping stuff should be done at the end of the meeting. I don't think it's fair to the applicants.
Okay. I'll see what I can do as far as I'll talk to staff and see what, if anything, we can kind of move around on the agenda so that we can hit the ground running in a more appropriate fashion at the beginning of the meeting.
Madam Chair, forgive the interruption.
Sure.
This is put at the beginning of the agenda just because if you guys cannot decide on a motion or do not, or have conflicting ideas of what needs to happen, then we can't continue with the meeting.
Right. So if, for example, all of us said, no, we want to do it in person, then the meeting would end today.
Exactly. So that's, I mean, unfortunately, that's why it has to get stuck at the beginning of the agenda.
Sure. But I think Alan's comment was more in line with most of the rest of this other stuff. And so we'll see what I'll see what I can do, Alan. Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
is it also possible that if we can give the applicants a better feeling for what time they should plan to be at the meeting so that they don't show up?
I can work with Lee on that as well.
Yeah, then they aren't sitting around through this. They just show up, especially on Zoom. It's just pretty easy.
It should be pretty easy. Yes. Okay. Yes.
so-
Puck.
I really appreciate Alan's comment.
Is it appropriate at this time to make a motion?
Yes, absolutely.
I move that the members present at the Central Board of Architectural Review agree to continue to meet on Zoom or to meet remotely
Mhm.
via Zoom or any other program.
Okay. I would second that motion. I agree with what everybody had said before. Is there any further comment?
Who's voting?
You are.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think I got an aye from everybody. Any nays? Any opposed? All right, let's do the consent agenda. Leah, can you get the item C1, 21 bar 85 Mesger edition? Can we get them going so that we can get them out of here?
Bethany, do you want me to report on that sidewalk item?
Yes, while they're getting ready, that'd be great.
Okay, so it's actually a request for the grant of an easement for public access over and across a roadway commonly referred to as Numancia Street. From the San Ynez Band of Chumash Indians to the county of Santa Barbara. So,
Oh, they want an access onto Numancia. That's what it is.
right, so it's
That's
being
what I thought. Okay.
granted to the county.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Bethany. I was just
Go
gonna,
ahead.
Patrick, he's ready to go whenever he's wanting to share his screen.
Mr. Davies, go for it.
Okay, that's me. Hi. Hi,
Could
everybody.
you go ahead and share your screen and I'll read the comments while you're getting that up there on there?
Who, me? I
Yeah.
think Willow's gonna help.
Oh,
I can't-
okay.
Please.
Whoever's going to be doing the sharing screen for your group there.
Oh, yeah, I can pull them up. Sorry, I didn't realize.
Hi, Willow.
Oh, Willow, are you the planner?
Yeah, I am.
Hold on a second. I've got my screen up already.
There we
I'll just
go.
go ahead and put it in there, but now I can't read the notes. Nicole, can you read the notes for me? The comments from last time?
Yeah, 1 second. Let me open those back up.
Yeah, because I had to
Alright.
switch.
Let's see. Were these, remind me, these were ones we just edited?
Don't
Or
think
no?
so.
Okay. All right, let me find them. Okay.
It's on the, yeah.
All plans should note all colors and materials are to match existing. If this holds true for details, then the details should be noted to match existing. Any additional lighting should meet night sky requirements, including fixture details.
Okay. So let's see, we are off of 101, correct?
Yes,
Okay. It's Calle Lipizzaنا.
yes. And
Okay,
then there's a private driveway heading up to the
right here.
residence. It's a avocado orchard.
So that would be,
Yeah, if you scroll down to the next sheet,
okay, I will do that. There we
this
go.
is yeah, that's the full property site plan, and there are 3 existing buildings on the site, and programmatically the owners, yeah, that's right, they want to do a small addition to the kitchen and to the garage.
All right, so that would be an interior remodel. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down because
Yes,
you've
ma'am.
already presented this to us.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the new area here.
Right,
Here.
the garage below and the kitchen above.
Okay. And this is essentially just a codification of what we saw before, I'm assuming.
Right. This sheet is new. It shows all of the existing building floor plans, all on one sheet, so you can see the spaces between them.
Okay.
All drawn to scale. Yeah.
Very good.
So we're only concerned with the area to the far right,
Right here.
and that's where the scope of work is. And by the way, there are no changes at all
Okay.
to the design. Period.
Okay. And then
So
this
that's
is
the
the area.
demolition floor plan.
Right.
And that's the roof plan. The entire roof will come off on that area.
Okay.
And then scrolling down, you'll see the darker walls showing the new walls. And the garage gets, changes in, it increases in size so they can get their vehicles from uncovered into a more covered situation with their trucks and such.
Tandem parking, got it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
New.
And so the roof will stay at kind of a lower proportion, flanking the formal spaces at the core. These are just elevations of the other buildings so that you can see the theme and style of what is a classic ranch style architecture. And then you can see the main residence building with the tower, foyer tower in the middle, and the living room in the higher roof area, and then the 2 private kind of flanking wings from to the sides.
Okay. And refresh my memory. Where is this? The garage, the alteration is to the existing side west.
Exactly where the cursor is. Yeah, that's
Right
the area where we will do this addition.
Okay.
There's kind of a pocketed area that we will fill in.
And it changes orientation. They're now entering the garage 90 degrees.
Oh, very well figured out. That's correct. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And then we are able to, yeah,
okay. So do you have notes on here that say all colors and details to match existing?
Yeah, I think you're zooming in right on that note right
all
there.
All colors, materials, and architectural details are to match existing. Perfect. Dark sky compliant. Okay. Shall be dark sky compliant. Okay. And do you have any fixtures? I'm assuming the ones that you would have.
Yes.
Would be ones out here beside the garage and the door.
Exactly. You'll see a little target there on either side of that man door there. And that where the note is. And then I do have the spec and the model number of that light fixture, which which matches the other that are existing. Kind of a wrought iron, looks like an antique, but it
Okay.
is brand new. It's a dark night
Okay.
compliant.
Is there a reason they weren't included in the set for our approval?
Well, we put the model number on there. I think if you, let's see, if on each sheet, we just provided the spec number and, manufacturer information.
Right. Okay. Willow, is that okay with you?
I think if you scroll to the left, or pan to the left, there it is, new exterior light.
Yep, I saw that.
Yeah, so it's the same fixture, which is the way the rest of the existing house is. It's one fixture that then occurs all around the perimeter. No floodlights, no other kind of lanterns or anything, or downlights. It's just this wall-mounted hanging wrought iron fixture.
Okay. Let me check with the planner here. Willow, are you comfortable making the determination instead of having us review this fixture?
Yeah, I'm okay taking a look at the spec if it's sent over to me, and I can send it to you too if you want.
If you want to run it by me as the chair afterwards, just to see what my take is on it, that's fine. But I will say that if it doesn't, for some reason, if it doesn't comply, then you're going to have to return to us.
I have a PDF of it that I could email to Willow.
Have you previously submitted that to her?
I don't think I have, ma'am.
Yeah, it would have been very helpful for it to have been part of this sheet set, because then it would just be done and dusted.
I see.
And that's typically the way this works, is you put it on here. Most people just put the cut sheet and then they circle what they're specifying. They just say, this, and it's the lamp is supposed to be 2700 to 3000 Kelvin. And I mean, there's a bunch of little things in there besides. Yeah. It's not as simple as saying it'll just be dark sky compliant. And some fixtures that are marketed as dark sky compliant are not. The other place we've run into trouble is when you're matching something that's existing. Oftentimes, less now because we've had dark sky compliant for a while, but it still pops up occasionally. We get somebody who comes in and they're matching an existing fixture, and the existing fixture is not dark sky compliant.
Oh, I got you. Yes, ma'am.
And so I'm a little concerned here. If we take our action and grant final, is this preliminary final or just final, Nicole?
It's on for preliminary final.
Okay, thank you, Willow. So if we take our action, that's fine, but it means that Willow, you're going to have to make sure that it conforms. If you're okay, if you're comfortable with that, that's fine.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Thank you, Will.
All right. So we usually make our motions, Mr. Davies, we make our motions together since we have two items for consent. So I'm going to go ahead and do the second consent item, and then we'll make the motion for both at the same time. So if you can just hang on for a quick second.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. I didn't want you to think I was forgetting about you.
Okay.
Okay, so consent item number 2, 21 bar 14 Nash residence. And since I've got my screen up here,
You want me to read the minutes?
yes, please. And
Okay.
who's presenting for this one?
I'm presenting today. This is Robert Mail, and also Mary Nash is presenting.
Okay, do you want me to go ahead and just show it on my screen since I've got it here, or do you
Yes,
want to take?
please.
Okay,
No, go right ahead.
what do you want to start with?
Let's start with our elevations.
All right, I'll start reading.
Yes, please do.
Provide sizes, quantities, and locations of plants. Show mitigation trees on the landscape plan. Identify building heights on the elevations. The pyramid cap on this of the central building seems out of proportion with the rest of the building. The tower piece could be emphasized more. This is a suggestion. Consider cladding the tower in stone. Show final plan details and WELO calculations on plans. Add specification for the lamp details to be and it should be between 2700 and 3000 Kelvin. Ensure that drawings show final grading numbers and consistent wainscoting on the elevations. Consider raising height of the wainscoting. The applicant may return for final approval on consent.
Okay, Mr. Mel, take it away.
Thank you. The first item I'll address is building heights. As you can see on all elevations, taken to the peaks of the pyramid-shaped roofs, we have them all called out. They're all below 19 feet. And we also have these identical on the section drawings. I don't think we need to go to those, but we just repeated them. The next item I'll go to is we agreed with the committee about the pyramid cap at the top of the very largest pyramid roof. It was about 3.5 feet in width, and we've removed that completely. The next item was on the what we call the front elevation, which is the west elevation, I believe, above this. If you go scroll up a little bit, there we go. It was suggested that we should consider raising the tower a bit, which we looked at and agreed to also. It was also suggested that we perhaps look at cladding the entire tower with stone, and we did some drawings on those, but we didn't like the way it came out. So we've kept it the way it is. And then the stone wainscoting also along the bases, which we see on the far left all the way to the far right. We also thought it was a little inconsistent in some places, and in fact, in general, raised it up about 1 foot taller. If we scroll to our right, if we can do that on this, yes. Before that was just kind of a skinny band of wainscoting.
It was, yeah.
And we've raised it up, including that column that's to the very far right. We picked it up right around the column and wrapped it. And we followed that through the other elevations.
Okay.
Let's see if we want to go to D1. Yes, we could go to sheet D1, the details and the light on D1. We showed it between 2700 and 3000 Kelvin.
That's good.
And we also, I don't think we need to go to this, but we also have included our final grading plan, which indicates the amount of cut and fill are remaining exactly the same as they had been. So I think that covers everything except WELO and landscaping. Yes, I think those were all of the items. And we've also shown, you can see on the lower right of this drawing, the replacement oak trees. Since we're too close to one of the oaks, we've got 5 of those included.
And
then,
this was worked out with the planner because usually it's 10 to 1. So they said 15
correct.
gallons, 5 of them is fine.
True.
Okay,
Yes.
wonderful.
And I think we can also go to L1 sheet. I had hoped Mary would be back on at this point, but I don't see her yet.
Yes, I am on.
Oh, good. There you are. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
So can we go, Bethany, to sheet L1?
Am I not on L1?
She's on it, I think.
So
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. And Mary, if you could explain the table and planting locations, quantities, all that.
real quick, this is Tina Mitchell. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So they did submit a revised version of this sheet. So it was a late submittal, and I talked about that in my planner memo.
but we got this uploaded on Wednesday morning early, and it just provides a little bit of clarification and context that was missing on the original submittal. So if you would consider accepting the revised version of sheet L1, there's no expansion or anything. It's remains the same proposal, but it's just clarified.
All right. To the rest of the board, do we have a problem with that? I don't have a particular problem.
I'm fine with that.
Alan?
I'm okay as long as there's no changes in it.
Okay, let's take a look. Cass and Robin, you don't have a problem?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No.
Okay, Mary, if you want to continue, you can talk about this one.
Okay, thank you so much. So basically just wanted to address the location and size of the plants. The planting area is in this front entry area, highlighted by 1. And right here on either side of the entry. And on the table, the spreadsheet shows the detail of the different plants, the number 3 plants each, 1 gallon size. And we specifically focused on drought tolerant, low water need plants.
Okay. I'm just going to go back to this one. It looks like your proposed landscape area greatly reduced.
Yes, we decided with the focus on reducing the water, especially when I started reading through all of the WELO requirements, we reduced the area around the house that was landscaped. Same plants, but we eliminated certain areas for water, reduction, and also we had some concerns about rodent issues in this area, since it is very, it's out in the country, and so we're trying to address that more effectively, and then also keeping the plants away from the house in terms of some of the fire education that we're reading.
Okay.
May I ask a question?
Absolutely, Puck.
Then am I to understand, maybe it will be covered on the grading plans for the building department, that the any disturbed areas from grading or construction,
there is a note, but it doesn't specify what it is. It just says hydroseed in all disturbed area on this plan down here at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And but there's no note that I'm seeing now. This looks like that's tree protection. Okay. Rob, where's your grading plan? Is it in your plan set?
Yes, it is. While you're bringing up that, I'll mention that as much of the valley, this is kind of an oak studded area with a lot of golden natural oats and other grasses. And the Nashes want to keep it that way as much as possible. To me, that front entry area is a little bit like having a garden or an ornamental garden. And the rest of the places, they want to wait until the structure gets going and get a feel for any other items that they would add to that.
There's no, Puck, there's nothing about the seed mix, which is a requirement of the grading.
Right. So I'm not going to hold up final approval, but I would recommend that a seed mix is incorporated before it goes into the building department.
And I think there's some new requirements on hydroseeding. Even if it's temporary, you still have to irrigate it. It's a weird thing. And it's part of your Wello calculation. So it's going to change a bunch of stuff.
It is weird. But it's,
which is why most people usually wind up working with somebody to do it. The other thing, I'll make a comment here, and just FYI, this is to the planners. And again, I'm not going to hold up the plans for today, but when we say sizes, quantities, and locations, by location, we mean a discrete plan simple. So we meant show us the circles for where you're going to put each plant. Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I wasn't clear on that.
Yeah, I understand. It's something that is we'll say implied because that's the standard in the industry when with that kind of a comment. That's what it means in the application, and that's what our comment meant. But again, we're not going to hold you up, but that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see where you're doing it, because what happens is in my experience anyway, as soon as you start drawing those to scale, you'll find out whether you're actually filling that area or not. And it tells you how many you need. It also informs, just how much of an area you're actually going to be irrigating. So then it changes your aesthetic. But that's just for you when you go to execute it. And if you ever have this experience again, you'll know.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, Puck. I think that's we got through our questions. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments? This is just here for consent. So
Madam Chair, I'd just like to add that I appreciate that they took our comments, and I think the project has been improved. So I just want to say that. Thank you.
okay. All right. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Gonna go back to my agenda.
Thank you.
So that concludes the consent agenda. Do we have someone who'd like to make a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll
I'll
make
make-
the,
Oh, go ahead, Alan.
I'll make the motion.
Would you want to state that for me?
Make the motion, we approve the consent agenda as amended on this agenda date.
Okay, thank you very much. I will second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. I didn't hear Alan in there, but any opposed? All right, let's start our standard agenda. Item number 1, 21 bar 178 Adamson Ranch Garage. This looks like Brett Jones and
hi everyone.
Hi Brett. You want to go ahead and
yeah, Tony George, our architect, is gonna
share his screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll take the screen and take you through it.
Okay. If he waits for Google Earth to come up, it'll show you the site on my screen.
I was going to say, I don't know why we're, there we go.
So you'll probably recall this is the property on Alamo Potato, a little north of Ballard and Baseline and Presbyterian Church, where we had the existing barn that we actually have demolished and are in process to rebuild just a few feet from its old location. And
That's the one down here next to Almo Pintado, right?
exactly, yep. And now we're in today for a detached garage that will be just a little bit to the north in that kind of gravel area that you see there, which Tony will show here in a moment.
Up here.
No, right next to where the barn was. Yeah, right down in there.
To the right.
Yeah, to the right.
Okay, I'm gonna stop my share.
Okay.
You guys go ahead and do your thing.
Fantastic. Let me pull this up here. All right, I assume I'm sharing, correct?
You are.
Perfect. Quite frankly, this is a fairly straightforward structure. It's a 3-car detached garage. I'm going to run over to the site plan first. As Brett was saying, and on these drawings, I'm calling this our existing single-family residence only because relative to this application, that's already something that has been approved by CBAR. But this is our existing single-family residence that is, I believe it's 6 feet away from the original barn structure that's currently demolished. Our garage is straight to the north, 20 feet off of our property line. And let me zoom in here real quickly. We're 380 odd feet from our property line on Alamo Pintado. And if we were to orient you relative to the existing structure, this is our cover sheet. And these are all shots that are directly out of our computer model, meaning that the drawings that you see in the rest of this set are the drawings, is the model that was used to generate these renderings. So they're about as accurate as you can be. It's not a separate program or application. So this is our detached garage as we propose it. We're using the same materials as the main house, hardy siding, asphalt shingle roofing, exposed rafter tails, Marvin clad windows and doors, and then obviously we have a more decorative segmental roll-up doors. This is the view from our southeast. This is the view that would face Alamo Pintado, although we're standing up pretty close to the building. This is the view from the back of the building. We have an outdoor shower shown here as well. And then this is the view of the garage from the back of the property, the relationship to the main house. So it's very simply a 3-car garage with a small bath in the back, little service bath. We have an outdoor shower, mostly for the dogs. We have a pedestrian door on the front, and we have a pedestrian door on the rear. Oops, excuse me. Simple roof plan, 4 and 12 pitch, gutters and downspouts that direct away from the building. These are our 4 elevations. Door and window schedule details. These are all our materials. These are the same materials that we're proposing and were approved for the main house. I went ahead and submitted our lighting for this exercise. If you wanted to go through that today as well, that's fine, but these are dark sky compliant. And this is a sample of our garage door. It is a custom design, so I don't necessarily have a photograph of exactly what it's going to look like, but it's the same feel wood, and it's a segmental, 4-panel segmental roll-up door. And I think that's about it.
Wonderful. I thank you for that very succinct presentation. Are there any questions really quickly from the board before we go to public comment? Okay, Leah, public comment? Leah, did we lose you?
Madam Chair, I have no request to speak.
Okay, thank you. Board comments. Who wants to start? Cass or Puck? Robin?
I'm happy to start.
Go for it.
I think it's a very nice project. I have no further input, and I'd be happy to make a motion to approve it if that would be appropriate.
Well, let me take a look at the agenda. This project is here for conceptual review only.
Okay. Well,
All right.
I think it's
Puck?
great.
Robin?
I concur with Cass. I'd like to see it move on for preliminary final.
Okay, Robin?
I concur.
Alan?
I agree.
I agree with everybody else's concurrence with Cass's comments. I think this is ready, it can come back to us preliminary final, and if the planner is amenable, it can come back on consent. So
Thank you. Yeah.
have a very wonderful day, folks. Thanks for that presentation.
Thank you very much.
Item number 2, 21 bar 174, Zaka, new barn and ag employee dwelling.
Hey, Madam Chair, sorry for the interruption. Am I the only one having issues hearing Bethany, or is that a widespread thing?
I am.
Is that better?
Oh, there we
Yeah,
go. Okay, I'm sorry. I could only hear like a tiny little voice.
In the background. I got a little too far away from my mic, that's all.
All right.
I kind of liked it the other way.
I'm sure you did, Alan.
Bethany, I need
Yes.
to recuse
You recuse
myself
yourself from this
item.
project. Okay. And Leah, I will call number 3, but I have to recuse myself from it. So you'll have to get Puck back in to run as soon as we're done with this one. Okay.
Okay, will do.
All right. So it's just going to be a little musical chairs going on. All right. Do we have somebody, Brett, again? Do you have somebody ready to present?
Yes. We will need you, Bethany, to run the screen. So Dawn, I believe you're on the phone. Is that correct?
Okay.
We should have Don Zavato, the designer, on the phone, but I'll talk you through. I'm hoping to show the photos that are in the box folder.
Let me just start sharing. Hold on. Give me a second to catch up.
And just while the chair gets situated, anybody who's calling in, I believe that you need to unmute yourself if you want to speak, because I've given you all the ability to speak, but it looks like you're all still muted. So I think there's either an unmute button on your phone or it may be *6.
Okay, so you're talking about the members of the applicants team, not members of the public, I'm assuming?
Yeah, well, whoever would like to speak. We have 3 attendees at the moment. One of them may be the designer for the applicants team.
Okay.
It just shows the phone number, so I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. So, Brett, you should be able to see my screen right now. So
Yes.
You want to start with the photos?
Please. So this is a 10-acre parcel out on Spring Canyon Road off of Long Valley. And there's a center ridge running down the middle of the property. And in this view, you're looking south along that ridge towards the location of the future barn will be in the foreground, and then the ag employee dwelling will be towards the end of that area there.
Okay, kind of where the cursor is, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
These next photos will give you a little better idea. So now you are you're at the location roughly of where the barn is sitting, and then further down will be the ag employee dwelling.
And this is an adjacent property over here?
That is an adjacent property, correct. So this property does drop off there to the west into a deep canyon, and then also to the east, up, which is Spring Canyon Road.
Okay.
So that's basically the looking down at the site where the ag employee dwelling will be, and the pasture between the two structures and the fire department turnaround, which we'll go back to on the plans. That is looking to the east from the site, kind of in the middle of the two structures again, up on the knoll. You can see it's relatively flat. It's very flat up on top. That is, again, looking kind of in the middle of the two structures, looking to the property to the northeast. It's actually directly east of us, but it's to the northeast of the site. So now we're at roughly the ag employee dwelling, looking back north at the existing property in the foreground with that oak tree. Just before that, where the little corral piping is, will be the barn. And then on beyond, you see the detached garage on the left, and then the main house straight ahead.
All right.
Again, at the site now, looking to the northwest. Thanks for doing this, Bethany. Again, now we're further south on that ridge, basically at the location of the ag employee dwelling, looking to the southeast.
Right. This was the property I asked about initially.
Yep.
Okay. Looks like a close up again.
Yep. You can see a lot of these olive trees that have gone in that are just over the top of and now they're planting more olive trees now. An extension of these, as we'll see on the landscape plan. I should have said I do have the Zach is here with me in my office, and then Scott Dominguez is on the phone, on Zoom as well for the landscape discussion. So this is coming in the courtyard into the main house. Just to give you a feeling of the design style is to mimic or to match the existing house and landscaping. Garage doors. Again, just a picture of what we're informing the design. And I'll let Dawn speak to that. So that's the existing pool and the second residence, which is up at the northern end of the ridge. That's the koi pond. It's beautiful oak trees and landscaping, and again, the main house.
Okay, I think that's it for photos.
Okay. So if we could go to the, why don't we go to that? Yeah, there we go. Dawn, can you hear us okay?
Mute buttons are a pain in the butt.
Well, I'll continue and see if he can chime in. But so the shaded structure there is the barn. And you'll see the house and the other structures to the north. So you come up the driveway, you land at the main house, and then you'll come down the driveway south, which was tree lined with the olive trees, proposed barn area, and then some pasture. In that area will be the close by will be the fire department turnaround, and then the proposed ag employee dwelling at the southern end. Yeah, and the ag employee dwelling does have, it's about 1,400 square feet. It's got an attached roughly 1,000 square foot garage and ag equipment storage. So you'll see when we get to the floor plans. There's the barn and the tack room, a little office and restroom. So again, Don, are you on to speak to the materials at all, or? Again, to match the house, plaster, forgive my lack of architectural dialogue, but roofing and plaster to match the house.
Okay. All right. That's it for the architecturals. I don't see anything. This is just the barn. I don't see anything on the employee dwelling.
Is there not? There's not another folder in there?
It's a landscape folder, but we can take a look in there.
That's a landscape plan, but yeah, there should be another. There should be another. Is there is our planner on the call? Paige?
Not seeing her. I think she's working the counter right
Huh.
now.
Is there a
This is what I've got.
okay. There's an LUP box folder. Maybe it didn't get transferred over for some reason.
Well, I mean, we'll definitely give you comments on what we've got. Let's go back to, let's see if we can make some inferences on the ag dwelling based on the second plan.
Okay.
This is a big file. It takes a minute to pop up. This one here, I think we can kind of infer a few things.
Yeah, so the garage doors are on that north end face. Yes. So it's basically half of the structure, the structure be cut in half. That northern end is the 3-car garage. So garage doors are facing to the north. And then the remainder of the structure is a 2-bedroom ag employee dwelling. Exactly.
And it looks like this might be 1 bedroom and this might be the other.
Yeah, there's a patio there in that southeast corner.
Yep, there's patio here and there's one here, it looks like, and it looks like this is meant to be like a front door.
Yeah, there's actually right off the patio is what we're calling the great room or the living room.
Okay.
And the kitchen is in the southwest corner, Bethany. Yep. Just to the left of that then would be a bedroom. And then a bathroom, 2 bathrooms, and then up above that to the east. Yes, exactly. Right there is the 2nd bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah, the landscape plan does divide the 2 spaces, but not interior wise. But you basically got it there.
Okay.
You'll see.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, and they extended the patio. Interesting. Nice move. Oh, I wasn't even thinking this was Puck's project. Yeah, because I was thinking the same thing. Why don't you just put those 2 doors together? But okay.
Do you want Scott to speak to this while we're
sure
on this sheet?
As long as we're here.
Yeah, so I mean, as we saw in the photos, there's a majority of olive trees that are already planted to the east, and existing oaks as well that are noted on this plan. So that's kind of our goal, is to add additional trees, including more olives and oak trees. And I think
Scott, can I just interrupt real quick?
Yep.
These right along here, these are the existing.
Those are existing. Yep.
And then you're adding this inner rows.
That's correct.
Okay. And then these over here.
Yeah, those are proposed trees. Oak trees.
You're thinking oaks?
Yep.
For all of those. Okay.
And then as far as the rest of the vegetation, I think keeping it pretty low profile, native mix. I think it's mainly about the trees on this site. For the remaining of the vegetation, we kind of just want it to go back to its native state. And so we're just trying not to overcomplicate it, but we do want to focus on some of the screening to the east, and enhancing views, throughout coming from the site as well as away from the site.
Okay, so it looks like you've got some parking over here. Or what's
Yes.
going on with this?
Yeah, parking.
Okay, and then and this is the main entry? Is that was my inference kind of correct, or is this an
Yes.
accessory entry?
Main
Okay.
entry.
And then this is a fenced area in back here?
Fenced yard and hedge.
Okay, a fenced yard with the hedge here. It looks like the fence goes all the way around like this.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you've got concrete for the patio, maybe some flagstone or something, and then maybe something like a DG or shale or something in there. Is that what I'm reading?
Exactly. Yes.
And the same thing here and in the entry? Or are you just, it's still conceptual?
It's still conceptual. I think
Okay.
maybe for the entry, it might be something different than the gravel, but yeah.
Yeah, just for wearability and
Yeah.
not tracking gravel.
Tracking it in. Exactly.
Got it. Okay. No, okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry about I'm not sure what happened with the other plan, but essentially it's the, same pitch roof, same materials on the AED.
Okay.
The ridge line running north-south.
Okay. Does that conclude your presentation? Can I
Yeah.
check with my board or?
Yeah.
Okay. So, members of the board, are there any quick questions before we go to public comment?
I have a question, Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there did I miss this, but is there an overall site plan of the entire site that shows the relationship to, or is this future? Oh, there it is. Okay, I was just wanting to look at that. Because the development we're talking about is here over on the right. And then
Correct.
the residence is there. And then what are these over here to the left? And then, so I guess my question is the parking in the garage, or I mean, in that little structure, that new little structure that we don't have the images for, is that for the main house, the 3-car parking?
No, there's well, I can't speak to that, but it says exercise and garage here, Cass.
Yes.
There's a potting shed. That was the pool we saw in the pictures. This is an existing second unit and an existing garage.
Word. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, so to the applicant, then the 3-car garage over with the employees, is that, just wondering who that would?
Sure. Yeah, Cass, covered parking will be both for the ag employee dwelling as well as ranch equipment for the barn.
Okay, got it. Okay, and then to the landscape plan where it's more detailed, that is, you've got some parking on the one side on the, let's see, where's north? I guess.
It'd be on the east side, just
Okay,
guest parking
right
there.
and then in front of the garage, I mean, that's your turnaround, obviously, and maybe some more parking there too, right?
Yeah, the hammerhead is definitely right there in front of the garage, and we cannot park in that. And then we have some additional parking you'll see there.
Right where my cursor is?
Yes, exactly, guest parking in there. And then further north, actually way north of the barn, there's a parking area over kind of by as you go into the courtyard. Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Okay, got it. Okay, great. I was just wondering. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for the board real quick? All right, Leah, public comment.
Madam Chair, we have no request to speak.
Okay.
Wait.
Maybe we do. Give me just a sec. Let's see, who is that?
Mike Brown.
All right, Mr. Brown, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Madam Chair, board members, Mike Brown, I'm a member of the board of the Oak Trail Homeowners Association where this project is located. And we have not examined it or taken any position from a standpoint of our CC&Rs. But I did have a question on the ag building or the new ag residence. The elevation says that the height at the peak of the roof is 18 feet 6 inches. What's the county's height requirement in this area?
Are you saying what are the height limits and restrictions on it?
Yeah, what's the height? What's the maximum height limit for this type of building in the zone here?
I'm assuming this is Hillside Ridgeline.
Yeah, if I'm going to assume
Go
it's
ahead.
Hillside. Yeah, I'm going to assume it's Hillside Ridgeline as well, in which case it would be 16 feet, but with an allowance for an additional 3 feet if the roof pitch is 4 and 12 or steeper.
It's 5 and
So-
12.
Okay, so in this case, they're taking advantage of that. So
the roof pitch fits it in.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And then I don't know actually if this is a question for the architectural review type of board, and maybe more for the planning, but if you put the full site plan up there, could you?
Yep, give me a sec.
Is that up there?
Yep, can you see it?
Okay, yeah, I just got to clear some other stuff. So at the far, I guess this is the left side of the diagram, we have an existing second unit, right?
Correct.
Then we have the main residence.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the proposed barn, which includes a 2-bedroom residence, right?
No, the barn does not include a residence. It's
It
just,
does not?
no. There, that's the barn there, and then further south of that is the new ag employee dwelling with 2 bedrooms.
So the garage, the existing garage includes a 2-bedroom residence, right?
No, the proposal for the ag employee dwelling includes a 3-car garage.
So I'm looking, so the ag employee dwelling's out here on the right end, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and it includes, I'm looking at the sheet here.
Bethany, am I okay to answer directly?
Yes, please.
Sorry.
Speed this along.
The 3-car garage is part of the ag employee dwelling, and it includes residence, right?
Correct.
And the barn does not include a residence.
That's correct.
And the existing exercise garage, does that include a residence?
No.
No. Okay. So that should be okay. Otherwise, and I say the Oak Trail board hadn't taken any reviewed this yet because we were going to wait till the planning department and you guys finished all your stuff. But from my point of view personally, the design is certainly very, very attractive and should be acceptable beyond whatever requirements there are. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that takes care of public comment. Mr. Brown, you might want to mute your microphone.
As well as the dog.
Yeah. Well, the dog's okay.
The dog is expressing approval.
The dog is enthusiastic.
Oh, it'll be right over when it's all ready.
Yeah, well, my dog has come and nosed me 4 times since we started this meeting, so he's telling me it's time. Okay, so let's come back to the board for our comments. Who wants to kick off here? And Puck is excused. So we've got Cass or Robin. Or Alan? Do you want to start? Who wants to start?
Okay, I'll start.
Okay.
All right. I also live in Oak Trail Estates, but I'm nowhere near where this property is. I do have a couple of questions. How many dwellings are allowed? And again, I don't have a dog in the fight, no pun intended, but how many dwellings are allowed on these properties? Is there anything in the county that would say?
Nicole, you want to kind of walk us through that refresher real quick?
Yeah, well, I guess
it varies, I'm sure.
Yeah, it varies, but generally you'd be allowed a primary dwelling. With the new state regulations, you could have an accessory dwelling unit. I think you can have a second accessory dwelling unit with the state regulations as well. And then there's also provisions for ag employee dwellings. And then there is the possibility of having multiple ag employee dwellings in the case that the justification is provided that full-time staff is needed and we require that justification. So it can vary by the property. And then in certain places in the county, there are situations where homes were constructed prior to the zoning code being enforced. And so there are some places where there were multiple dwellings on an individual lot. But there would be only one single like main home, and then all those accessory type uses as a potential. Is that clear as mud?
It's pretty clear. I'm kind of sorry Puck has to recuse herself from this one because she's the one that normally comments about massing. And I was looking forward to hear what she would have to say about this. Other than that, the project looks okay to me. Go ahead. I'm done.
Okay, Robin.
And Chair, if I could interrupt, my apologies. I was able to get a hold of the planner.
Yep.
And she has uploaded the ag employee dwelling plans to the box file.
Were those available in time? And this was just
I think she just uploaded. They were in our files, but they were not in the BAR file.
You can't look at them.
Were they a part of? Were they available for the public?
They were not in the CBAR box folder.
All right,
but they were.
We're not gonna look at them. We'll wait till next time.
Okay.
All right. Robin.
I think the whole development is that's existing is charming and beautiful. And from what we've seen, I think it looks great. And I look forward to seeing the employee residence.
Okay. Cass.
I agree with what has been said, and I really like the way the landscape works to screen the ridge, how everything's runs across that ridge. I think it's been done very sensitively, and that the landscape really is a beautiful way to add to that. So I have no further comment. I like it.
Okay. I just have a couple of comments, and Brett, I'm going to go through these really quickly. So let me know if you don't catch them, and Nicole, you too. Okay. So, in addition to what everybody else has said, I agree that they appear to be matching the existing detailing and materials. And if that's the case, then the elevations in the plan set need to say that, all details and colors and materials to match existing. The other thing I'd like to see, since we're not seeing the elevations of the ag employee dwelling, I noticed there was a little hummock in the back of it, that the hill kind of went up. And so on both sets of elevations. We need to see existing. Just so that we know whether there's been a change or not.
Existing.
Existing elevation, and then the new proposed elevation, because
I see.
while, you know, it's got 19 feet on the barn here, and that's fine, assuming the existing elevation is exactly what he's showing here. But if this is raised or anything, then it's not going to fit hillside ridgeline, because I'm pretty certain this is hillside ridgeline has to comply. So so I want you to document and show us on the drawings, and that includes showing us the existing elevation and the fact that you're projecting that plane in the air, and that all portions of the building are in compliance with that projected plane. And that's for both structures, barn and ag employee dwelling. Then
So Bethany, you're asking them to show existing and proposed grade?
yes.
Okay.
And if it doesn't change, they need to identify that. But I'm going to guess there's some proposed grading going on, because it's not exactly flat right now. So there's going to be some deviation, and they need to show that in the elevations. The other thing is the landscape plan is very nicely tied together. And so assuming that this is representative of the direction you're going, and I know this is still a conceptual, but all site plan, all drawings sets need to show the same kind of information. So that, you know, if you've got a paved area on here, it needs to show up on the architect's site plan as well, especially for the parking. And I'd like to see, you should probably go ahead and show the turnaround, you know, where that actually, what chunk of real estate that takes up. Just some things moving forward. I understand this is conceptual, and it's very appropriate for that level. But you know, as you move forward, I'm very excited to see the elevations for the ag employee dwelling, and look forward to you coming back. Board, do you think they could return preliminary or preliminary final?
I would go with preliminary final if everybody else is comfortable.
I think I am.
Alan?
I have internet problems here. I'm okay with that.
Okay. I think given the fact that we didn't see all the drawings and everything, I'd like to see you back full board instead of on consent. So, but yes, preliminary final will be absolutely fine, assuming all the other conditions are met. Please be sure to include all of your exterior lighting and to demonstrate compliance with dark sky, especially since this is up in the on the hill. I know you've got olives and stuff in there, but it's really hard, even with dark sky compliant, especially when the road is down below, you're looking up into the fixture. So please be sensitive about your placement of your lights, and I encourage you to only use what you absolutely need.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
Also, if I could just add that I really appreciate Mr. Brown's comments from the Oak Trail Board, and would look forward to hearing any further comments, since they haven't, you know, fully reviewed it yet, but would look forward to hearing that they, you know, how they feel about it as well.
Okay, no further comment, then I think I'm going to come back here to the agenda and go to item number 3, 21 bar 114 McGill new single family dwelling. I do have a conflict with this item. Leah, please take me off of the thing, and put Puck back in so she can run the hearing.
All right, Puck, I have you upgraded to co-host, so whenever you're ready. And then Bethany, give me just a sec and I will throw you in the attendees. All righty.
And in the meantime, I'm thinking I could go ahead and read the minutes. Everyone else is, once Puck gets back.
I'm back. I think that would be great.
Okay, so let me just, I think we
No.
modify these ones today from last time. Just checking. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. The board appreciates the design as appropriate for this site. Provide color and materials info, including for proposed retaining walls. Show proposed lighting on the elevations and plans. Consider splitting stone up in different ways around the structure. Oh, who stopped sharing? Oh, I guess Bethany left. Hold on. Let me go back to those minutes. Consider splitting stone up in different ways around the structure. The board appreciates the roof style and material and include a landscape plan in the next package. And those are the prior minutes.
All right, and this is agendized for conceptual and preliminary review. As I'm reading it, is that correct? Just to make sure I'm on the right thing. Yeah.
Could I ask I believe the planner is here, Cassidy.
Okay, and who is here for the applicant?
I am. It's Angelo Cacciola. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, and we'd like you to start sharing the screen at this point.
All right, great.
Sorry, this is Nicole. I just want to, Cassidy, is this ready for preliminary or is it ready for conceptual only?
This is further conceptual review only.
Right. So just to clarify for the board, there's there are some outstanding items that we need on the zoning side. So it's for further conceptual, but if you are happy with what you see today and are ready for them to come back for prelim final on consent at the next meeting, we'd be happy to accept that. We just can't send it for preliminary quite yet today.
Okay, great. So.
Well, I did something that caused my screen to go to a small screen. I'm just going to open my files and hopefully you'll be able to see them.
We see your files. That's a good sign. There we go.
All right, great. So you see my site plan. This is our architectural 1.0. Now I'm going to go through these. I hope they'll, even though we were here for conceptual in July, I hope this will be somewhat familiar. So this is our updated and improved site plan. It has the vicinity map and the portion of the track map showing our building envelope, and then you can see that very faintly indicated, but we're well within our building envelope with the building. So I'm going to proceed to the next sheet. We cut these three sections through the building and the site to clearly show that we're complying with the maximum height requirement. And when we get a little further into the presentation, we have a full grading plan now done by a civil engineer, our consultants, and they also verified these elevations. They have a surveyor on their team that did the survey work on the site. As we continue, and I may go ahead and touch on some of the comments and how we addressed those. Now, this floor plan is further developed from the one that was presented at the conceptual. This is now a CAD version of the hand drawing that was done before. There are no changes to the floor plan. The only things that are any different is that a open beam and trellis structure was added outside the dining room and living room, which is indicated right in this area. If you can see my cursor. And
okay.
It is detailed on the elevations and on the architectural detail sheet. I might point out that As you may recall, we did a project with the McGills a couple of years ago. And while this house is substantially different, there are certain elements that the McGills really loved about that house, and we've incorporated here. And this is one of them, this beam and trellis work. Okay, then moving on to our electrical exterior lighting and our roof plan. I'm sorry about that faint. It was just unfortunately not a great scan that was done, but I think it's readable, and I'll zoom in on it so you can see a little better. But on the electrical plan, I'd like to point out, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. You can see the specs for our lighting over to the left. I think you appreciated that on our initial presentation. These are dark sky compliant and are similar to fixtures that were used on the previous project and approved by the board. And so you can see that these sort of dome-shaped down lights are indicated on the plan on either side of these columns on either side of the door coming out of the master bedroom. In these three locations on the columns outside the dining room and living room, great room. Then two more of those fixtures are indicated on the columns on either side of the garage door. Now, the other fixtures that were indicated are these simple rectangular, very small fixtures. And again, you can see that the bulb indicated well up inside this little can with the angle of the light spread indicated here. So
thank you.
Okay. Good.
Can you focus on our comments from last time?
Sure.
That would be great.
Okay. Now, if you don't mind, I'll get to the color board. That we have a color board indicating all of the specifics for the materials and color that I can get to. So I can go to that now, but I'll jump around a bit. Right now, I'm discussing the proposed lighting, and the next sheet is going to be on the elevations, where I'll point out how we've clearly indicated the locations and shown these lights on our elevations. So if you like, I can go straight to that now.
That would be great.
Okay. Now I'm going to stay large and large like this so you can clearly see them. There you can see right there the light that was shown in detail and called out specifically on the previous sheet. And the bubble for P indicates that is the light fixture on the exterior of the building mounted on the columns. Then there's a recessed can over the front door, which is completely non-visible or invisible, which will only shine straight down. And that's indicated on the exterior lighting plan. Those other rectangular or small box lights are tucked well up into underneath this roof so that they are not visible, and will light that area only as they shine straight down. Going to the other elevations, this elevation doesn't show any lights. We will have a light tucked again up underneath this overhang right here above this door, as required by code. You have to have an exterior light at every exit. Now this door is only going into or out of the garage, and it has a little doggy door down there at the bottom. And going to the next sheet for the other two elevations, let me zoom out a little bit so you get the whole picture. Going to the other two elevations, there are no lights over on this whole west end of the building. No lights here on the master bedroom until you get over to this side, where you can see the lights indicated and called out here on either side of the master bedroom sliding doors. Then here's another light, very inconspicuous on that column. This light is a little easier to see because I didn't draw in the stones. And then this light. That's it for the exterior lighting. So
Okay.
that addresses the show the lighting on the elevation. Now, the next comment was about splitting the materials up a little bit. I don't know if you'll recall, and I don't think we can go back to our previous presentation. But
That's
we
okay.
did. Okay. And so we did make a change in that. In this area specifically, as you enter into the motor court in front of the house, in the previous presentation, we had stone here under these windows also. And based on a comment that the board made, we removed that stone and instead applied the same board and batten siding that we have on a lot of the other parts of the house. Now, we considered some changes in some other areas, but felt that the other areas already had a fairly nice mix of materials. And in fact, that change that I just mentioned on that is now matching what we've done on almost all of the other window areas that you can see where I'm moving my cursor around. So it's more consistent in theme. And I'll go to the other elevations and we can look at the same thing. Here again, we have the board and batten siding under all of these windows. And so now it's consistent with what we're showing on the other side of the house. So we incorporated that comment. Board appreciates the roof style and material. There is one change that we've made, and it has to do with the fact that, as you're well aware now, the state requires solar panels, which have to be, the number and the amount of solar area must be calculated and part of your Title 24 energy calculations. And I've consulted with our energy consultant about that to try to determine how much we would need to supply. But as you know, the metal roofing is more difficult to mount solar panels on, and it creates other issues. And there's also the cost issue. So because of all of those factors, we've elected to go with a high quality dimensional comp shingle, that we've called out here on our elevation legend. And we also have spec'd on our elevations here. And we've also got it included, as you'll see when we get to our color board, the specific material. Now, I might point out that on the previous house, which had some similarities, we also showed the same type of combination of roofing materials on that house. Solar panels were not required on that house, and so the owners elected to go with the same type of metal roofing on the higher roof on that project. But on this project, and especially since we want to try to differentiate the design of this house from the other house, and the board did approve the last house with the comp shingles as we're showing here, that we decided to go this route.
And so do you have that on your color board?
Yes, we do. And I'll get to that as soon as you'd like.
I think now is good.
Okay, let me switch over to the color board. Let me reduce that. Excuse me. Okay, here we're showing the colors and materials. So this is the standing seam metal roofing that is going to be the core 10 type of steel, natural rusting to a certain degree. And then it retains and stops rusting and it retains that patina. And that will be on all of the lower sections of the roof that continue across on all the elevations. And I might point out that that elevation was carried over from our first presentation. So it's slightly different. We're not showing the solar panels on this and the other things, but it was just there for reference so that it does show that stone that we removed and now made more consistent with our other windows. But anyway, that's our roofing material for the low roofs. Here is our dimensional comp shingles for the high roof only. And then while we're on the color board, if you'd like, I can continue talking about the materials. All the board and batten
Certainly.
siding will be the urbane bronze, but that's right. All the board and batten siding will be the urbane bronze, and the stucco will be this quiver tan. It'll be painted so it's a consistent color.
So the board and bat is the dark color.
Yes, it is.
Just want to repeat that because to make sure
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And then the stone, excuse me, the stone will be the limestone, natural limestone. I'll say not a manufactured veneer. It is natural thin limestone, and the color will be a combination, mostly a nicotine, which is more of a tan color with light brown tones, and then 30% cream, which is going to be a bit lighter. And then there is a little hint of gray in some, only 5%. So it's a beautiful natural material. All the exposed beams and any exposed timbers around the house will be stained with a semi-transparent stain to retain a natural look. There's the color called out, shown on a sample or an example of the wood. We get on the second sheet and we can go into the windows are aluminum clad, high quality with natural wood on the interior. And they are going to be in this weathered cocoa, which is a dark, almost a bronze color. The garage doors are going to be as shown with the wood panels in 4 panels with windows, rectangular windows, and those are this is shown on the elevations we can go back to. We did not have the door, the entry door delineated or detailed or called out on our first presentation. That was a question that I didn't see it in the minutes, but it was a question that one of the board members had, and we have now addressed that by specifying the exact door and color. The retaining walls that we are considering at this point are going to be these Allen block materials. It's very natural looking, but I have to say that because of we're not locked into that yet, and we're also considering doing a stuccoed concrete block walls, in which case the stucco would be painted to match the stucco color on the house. The I'm sorry, the quiver tan. Then we're also, just so you know, we're also exploring the possibility of doing poured in place concrete walls that would be stained a color. And an example of that kind of thing and how effective that can be is, I'm sure you're all familiar with the Iwani Hotel in Yosemite. And a lot of people don't realize it, but a good portion of the exterior of the building that looks like a natural cedar because of the way it was formed with rough sawn timbers. The concrete was poured into those, and when it was stripped, they immediately stained it, and it looks like wood. But we're not trying to make it look like wood. If anything, we want it to look more like the natural terrain. So if we decide to go with a poured in place concrete wall, that's what we're going to try to do, is stain it to blend.
You can make that decision when we get back to preliminary, but can we look at the landscape plan now?
Sure. Okay, so here's our landscape plan. And I think it's beautifully detailed and well done. And you can see I can move to whatever portion you'd like to focus on. here is showing the extent of the landscaping, and it's being held relatively tight to the building in the developed area. The areas where there will be any grading or disturbance of the soil are going to be hydro-seeded, and temporary irrigation will be provided so that it really gets a good hold. We're showing the gravel drive area, again, to try to avoid mass areas of hard paving. And then I'd like to also point out the precautions that we're taking. There's only one small cluster of small oak trees, and that's right here, that is protected, even though this cluster is, I'm not sure that it's even qualifies as a protected because of the size of these are so small, but the owners and I wanted to try to save this little cluster of oak trees so that as they grow and mature, they'll become a beautiful grouping of trees. And so while we were doing the grading, we talked to our civil engineer to make sure that they would avoid any,
more.
excuse me?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
go ahead.
We just wanted to avoid damaging or harming that little cluster of oak trees. And so our landscape architect did a calculation to show that we are staying under the 20% intrusion into the critical root zone of that little grouping of trees. And that's the only oak trees that would be within any area possible, possibly being affected. But as I said, we're protecting them with the fencing that's detailed here on this plan. And we're taking great care to do that. Some people would have just gone in there and yanked them out because of the small size of them.
Thank you for doing that.
Okay.
Is there, I don't have it up on my screen. Is there anything else that was in the minutes? I'm trying to go back to them in the comments.
That was it.
I think we've covered yeah, I think we've covered everything. Thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions from the board before public comment?
Madam Chair, I do not have any requests to speak.
All right, thank you. So we will take comments from the board at this time. We were advised that this is here only for concept, not concept preliminary.
I was under the impression that it was for concept and preliminary. I think it's listed that way.
It is listed that way. However, the planner, I believe, said there were some things that needed to be resolved. Nicole?
Yeah, so there's what I said earlier is that if you feel that it can come back at the next meeting for prelim and final on consent, staff would be supportive of that. But at this point, there's some zoning issues that we're still working to resolve, and we can't send items for preliminary approval until those are resolved. So at this point, it would be for conceptual review only but again, if you're comfortable sending it to come back for
so we could
final.
We could support in our comments the idea of coming back for preliminary final on consent.
Correct.
All right. So hopefully that clears that up for you. And we will take comments only from the board at this time. Cass, would you like to start?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for this presentation. Can we look at the color and materials board with the elevation, please?
Sure. Okay.
Scroll up, please. Thank you. A little higher.
Okay.
I just have these following comments. I think that I understand what you're saying about the solar. I think the project would be more successful if the roof was all one type of roof instead of the two different types of roof. And I don't have any objection to just doing the comp shingle everywhere, as opposed to having the, if you're finding that it's too difficult to put the solar onto the standing seam metal roof. I would suggest that, and I think the dark color you've selected is quite beautiful. So I think that might be a better way to go. I also, I would appreciate when you come back to correct this elevation to reflect the roof as it is actually being proposed. Regarding the colors, I really love the quiver tan, and I think it looks really beautiful. And I would suggest that you consider using that. I'm not as fond of the dark color and how it especially works with the dark windows and makes them sort of disappear. So I would just, and I just think that quiver tan is quite lovely with the dark roof. And also your stonework. I think it's just really gorgeous. I really appreciate that I like the stone very much, and I like the color of the beams. And I appreciate that you have added the board and bat around, as we had suggested and talked about last time. So I think all of those are good things and have improved the project. I would just, again, suggest you consider using that quiver tan throughout as a beautiful contrast and complement to the dark roof and the stonework. My last comment is just wondering why you didn't just do the board and bat instead of having the stucco around the garage. I just, seems like that would just be more consistent and be one less material to have to deal with. But if everything was the quiver tan, it could all just blend in. So anyway, that's not a major thing, but just to consider. I believe those are all my comments, and thank you. I think the project has come along. Thank you.
Robin? Thank you, Cass. Robin?
Hi, this is Robin. I agree with Cass in regard to the number of materials being used. I think the stucco, I think it would be more consistent to have just the board and bat instead of adding the stucco. The stone and board and bat, I think, is enough, and the stucco just makes it too many different things. And I'm not really sure how I feel about the two different roofing. They're so different from each other. And I think I agree with Cass that I would just want to go with one. And given the constraints with the Corten, maybe the dark shingle is the best. And I think that would look good with the colors. And as far as the colors, I'm not sure how I feel about the using just the quiver tan. I think I'm all right with the using both the darker color as well. And I like the project, and I remember the previous one that he brought to us, which I think was very nice. And this one's very similar. And that's it.
Thank you, Robin. Alan? Alan?
Yeah, I'm here. We're having internet problems up here again. Sorry about that. Takes me a while to get back into it. I agree with what you guys have said. I think he's answered a lot of the questions, and I really don't have anything else to add.
All right. I will just, I would like to hear from the board. How do you feel about them coming back for preliminary final, either at board level or on consent? Would someone like to comment on that?
I'm kind of up in the air about that because there's a lot of things to resolve here with the siding, you know, whether to continue with the stucco and have so many materials, and then the roofing. but I think those aren't too, I think they could come back for preliminary final on consent.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Cass?
Well, Puck, how do you feel about it?
I think this is really interesting, all these different materials. I'm not totally sure about them. It seems sort of eccentric and quirky in a way. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just very different. Because the colors and things are so recessive. I don't think I have a problem with the different materials. I perhaps would not have done that personally, but I do think this is maybe an exploration of materials language that is just a little different. But given the color palette, I do think the stucco and the board and bat might, particularly under some of the windows, it might jump around a little bit, but I don't feel so unsure of it that I'm okay with it coming back preliminary final. But I do think it's a very sort of long, elegant house, and I do think the breaking up of the roof is going to take away from that sense of proportion and massing that you have going as kind of the overall theme. It sort of takes it in a different direction, but that is obviously your choice and the applicant's choice. So I think with those comments, it sounds like the board is in support of you coming back for preliminary final.
Great. May I ask you a couple of questions just to try to ensure that when we come back, I've done what I think would be, approvable by the majority of the board. I'd like to just clarify a little bit. I don't think we'll have any issue in, I have to verify this with the owners, but I can see continuing the board and batten in place of all the areas where we're showing stucco, which is primarily around the backside of the garage. I don't think there's going to be much of a cost difference between doing the stucco or the board and batten, maybe slightly more to do the board and batten, but that's an easy one to address. The roof design, let me just explain a little bit about that, as I'm sure you've seen on some other project that have been presented.
Excuse me, we're under some time constraints, so just in terms of allowing questions after our comments. So if there's a point of clarification that you didn't understand something about our comments, we'd be happy to clarify that for you.
I guess the main question is, how strongly does the board as a whole feel about changing the roof material so that it's all consistent? This combination of materials is quite typical to Hill Country design, which was our inspiration starting point for this design.
My comments were more of suggestions, not implying any potential condition for approval. Could I hear from the rest of the board just to clarify this? That it were your comments in the vein of a suggestion or a strong recommendation?
I think mine were a consideration for the roofing.
Okay.
I would say I'm having trouble with this roof. But I agree. I think that overall, the project is very nice, as I had said. And I think most, it hangs together well. I just, seeing this red roof and then the dark roof, I think it's just breaking it up too much. And, again, it's, I guess I would say if that's what they really want to do, then so be it. But I would strongly recommend that you really take a hard look at that. You might be able to save cost and I think get a better project in the end if you consider. And since it's the solar that's driving it, now I know you can do solar on a standing seam roof. They do make, clips and can work very well. So I would just say pick one roof and go with it. But I really am not I just feel that the two roofs, along with all of the other elements, less is more,
Okay.
the old saying. So I just strongly recommend that you really take a hard look at that and see, how it's all going to come together.
I really appreciate that clarification. I'll discuss it with the owners. I have a feeling that if we're going to stick with one material, they would probably prefer the metal standing seam roof on the entire house. So we'll review that and hopefully we'll get it right when we come back for final.
And also I'll just say that that was a very beautiful roof as well. I was just trying to give you option, to go with one or the other, but I think the red roof is very pretty. It's just when you have both. So thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes our comments and we look forward to seeing you again.
And will we be able to, assuming that our planner Cassie can resolve the issues that she's still concerned about, we're going to try to come back for the November meeting for the preliminary final. Does that sound?
That, you know what, that is completely out of our hands. I wish I had a crystal ball and could help you, but you'll have to talk to your planner about that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And on that note, I think that is the end of our agenda.
Puck, may I ask one small question before we sign out?
As long as we can answer it on a positive note.
Yes, yes, very positive. I think it's
great.
Been an excellent meeting today. And I just wanted to ask, and I should have asked this before when we were talking about our board, should we be looking for a replacement on our board since unfortunately Brett has moved along? Is that something that we should do, and what would be the process for that? To find others who might be appropriate or want to serve on the board, particularly another architect?
Yes, I think our board is always better served when we have more than one architect on the board, and I think all board members should keep an eye and an ear out for someone who might be interested, and then you can talk to I think the best process would be to go to Bethany, our chair with it, and then go to Joan Hartman.
Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I have a question if I'm allowed. I was one of the consent cases.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure as to how that was left about the light fixture and with that the manufacturing document wasn't inserted into the drawings.
Yeah, your planner will take care of that, sir. You need to just liaise with your planner, and if anything further, she'll probably, if she has a question, she'll ask me. I'm the chair.
Okay, and then how was the vote for my?
They both passed.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. Really interesting doing this. Very impressed.
Have a great day, sir.
Yeah.
Great, guys. You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. I was being promoted back to panelist, so I missed some of the little discussion in there, and I came back in when Puck was suggesting that you talk to me or Joan Hartman's office. The Board of Supervisors have sole discretion to decide who gets to be on this board. That said, in the past, if you have somebody that you would like to encourage, or you think you have somebody that you think would be interested in, that you think would be a good person on the board, you can either approach Ms. Hartman's office, or you can approach me, but you can't approach anybody else if you've already talked to me. Does that make sense?
Does.
Well, none of us have talked to you yet, I don't think.
No, I just meant that if you do decide to run somebody's name by me, you can't go and talk to somebody else on the board about it either.
No, that's true.
What, should they just go directly to Joan Hartman then?
The other person can come and talk to one of us on the board, or they can talk to you. What I'm trying to avoid, Cass, is us walking our own board.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do have, I know of a couple people that I think might be good. And
well, then I would strongly suggest you talk to them about filling out an application. They are available, I believe, online. Leah can confirm this or not. But they can also contact Joan Hartman's office. I think there's somebody in the office, and I'm not sure exactly who it is right now, but there is somebody at the office who can coordinate with them as far as filling it out and seeing that it gets docketed and all that.
Okay, well, I'll start by talking to the individuals and see if they're even interested.
That's an excellent idea.
Okay, that's
Great.
all. Thank you. Sorry I didn't bring that up before, but.
That's okay. It's a good question. But yeah, we just want to be careful we don't walk our own board. So.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn if there's no further business. Could I have a second?
Second.
That was Alan. Under the wire, beat Robin. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Good meeting, guys.